God of love and mercy, assist me in this time. Ease my burdens and strengthen my faith. Increase my trust and confidence in you. Give me the courage I need, dear Lord, to face evil. Protect me from evil and guide me to the truth.
Do you understand Satan's war against God?
First of all, the Illuminati is a fact.
From the beginning, Satan has snuck in and ruined the human race.
This is undeniable. There's no one that contests that. What is contested is how much power did they have? How much influence did they have? How many members did they have? How well were they organized?
And it's all part of God's plan to come himself and rescue them and redeem them.
And I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent. It requires a change in outlook, a change in tactics, a change in missions by the government, by the people, by every businessman or labor leader, and by every newspaper. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
The original founder of the Astor fortune was John Jacob Astor, 1763 to 1884. John Jacob Astor was born in Walldorf, Germany, from a Jewish bloodline. In 1784, he came to America from London, England. He joined the Masonic Lodge and within 3 years had become the master of the Holland Lodge No. 8 in New York City. By 1788, Astor was a master of Masonic Lodge No. 8. The original financial break came by carrying out a series of shady and crooked real estate deals in the New York City area. The next break came when two men who are now known to have been in the Illuminati gave John Jacob Astor a special government privilege. The two men were President Jefferson and Secretary Gallatin, both Illuminati members. The United States government had placed an embargo on all U.S. ships from sailing with goods in 1807, but Astor got special permission from these two men for his ship to sail with its cargo. His ship sailed and made close to a $200,000 profit in that day's money. Even at that period in history, British intelligence worked for the Committee of 300 and for the 13 top families. It is interesting then that John Coleman, who had access as an intelligence agent to secret documents, discovered that the original John Jacob Astor was also a British secret agent. The 13 families have very intimate roles with the American and British intelligence cults. Prior to 1817, John Jacob Astor entered into the fur trade and remained the biggest player until he got out of it in 1834. He had connections in London to the Backhouse family. He married a Todd, a family frequently associated with Satanism. His wife, a Todd, was also connected to the influential Brevoort family. For a few years, John Jacob Astor had participated in the opium trade, but in 1818 he publicly quit running opium to China. John Coleman, in his good book The Conspirators' Hierarchy, The Story of the Committee of 300, page 131, notes, John Jacob Astor made a huge fortune out of the China opium trade. It was the Committee of 300 who chose who would be allowed to participate in the fabulously lucrative China opium trade through its monopolistic British East India Company, and the beneficiaries of their largesse remained forever wedded to the Committee of 300. John Jacob Astor bought up large amounts of land in New York, which greatly increased in value. Astor became a banker and sat on the board of 5 directors of the new national bank that Hamilton created for the U.S. government, called the Bank of the United States. Astor owned a large block of stock of the Bank of the United States. John Jacob Astor was the richest man in the United States at the time. After making their fortune while residing in the New York area, the Astors by and large have all gone to England. They still wield great financial power in the United States through proxies. They also give money to agencies opposed to private ownership of guns. In 1901, the Astors contributed towards the creation of the Pilgrim Society, which was the cover organization for American and British Illuminati. The Astors have been very prominent in the group, which is Britain's equivalent to the Skull and Bones Society. In Britain, the Astors, along with about 20 other families, dominate the group, just as certain families like the Whitneys in the United States help dominate the Order of Skull and Bones. In 1919, the Royal Institute of International Affairs was created. The Astors were the major financial backers of this, and it functions as the cover of the Illuminati in Britain. For those who are new to this, the Royal Institute of International Affairs is the British equivalent to the Council on Foreign Relations, also known as the CFR, which takes a major role in the policy-making process in the United States. The London Times was largely controlled by the Astors, and since 1922 they have owned this major source of British news. The Astor family also used Owen Lattimore as their proxy for opium trade, who in turn used Laura Spelman, who was funded by the Institute for Pacific Relations. The IPR was the group that supervised the Illuminati's decisions to allow Red China a share in the opium trade. This will be more relevant when we cover the House of Lee. The IPR helped lay the groundwork for the Pearl Harbor attack. The Astors also were behind the appeasement policy in Europe, which allowed Hitler to become a threat. Another Illuminati invention was communism. You can find more info and proof of this from James Seconds Billington's book Fire in the Minds of Men and Occult Theocracy. Communism pretends it is the enemy of the rich capitalists, but both the rich elite and the communist leaders are committed to wipe out Christianity, to wipe out free trade with monopolies, and to set up an Illuminati one world government. Besides socialism, Nancy Astor was a big supporter of Christian Science. Christian Science was a front for witchcraft from its very beginning. For more information on what Christian Science is about, I suggest people study the book Be Wise as Serpents, Chapter 2.6, The Healing Light. David Astor the Honorable attended Bilderberger meetings in 1957 and 1966. Alpha Lodge is the lodge in England that is traditionally for royalty. These lodges protect them from rubbing shoulders with those of less social stature. These are the type of Masonic lodges that the Astors join. In summary, we can link the Astor family to Freemasonry, the Illuminati itself, the Pilgrim Society, the Round Tables, Communism, Fabian Socialism, CFR, Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Bilderbergers, as well as the various tainted banks such as Chase Manhattan. 13 families or bloodlines are at the top, and 5 of these families are the inside core of these 13. These families are portrayed as the 13 layers of blocks found on the reverse side of the US $1 bill. Sources from the book Dope Inc. say the top Illuminati families were behind the drug trade. The following families or businesses are mentioned in Dope Inc. as involved in some aspect of the drug trade: the Astors, Bundys, DuPonts, Freemans, Kennedys, Lees, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Russells, the Triads, Freemasonry, the CIA, the Order of St. John, and the Jesuits. It is widely believed that the Astors are descendants of the Astorga family found in southern Italy before the 1600s. The most likely meaning of the name is that both Astorga and Astor are variations, meaning Astarte, where in many interpretations is considered a fallen angel, often associated with the Canaanite goddess. Her name is also linked to the fallen angel Astaroth, who was cast down to hell after joining Lucifer's side in the war in heaven. Various satanic families moved into the southwest German area in the late medieval time period.